In what could be one of the biggest shakeups in recent Formula One memory, fresh information is pointing toward a serious shift in Max Verstappen's future. Reports out of Sky F1 Italia suggest that ongoing talks are happening between the four-time world champion and Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff. It's hard to ignore the signs. Where there's tension, something usually follows, and Verstappen's latest comments only add more weight to the growing speculation. With Silverstone coming up fast, this could be the most daring move Mercedes has ever attempted. But if it does happen, the big question remains: who makes way for Max at the Brackley-based outfit? For now, this whole story is still built on rumor, but those whispers are getting louder each day. Public remarks from key figures like Wolff, George Russell, and Verstappen himself offer clues about what's taking shape behind closed doors. According to the latest from Sky F1 Italia, these discussions may be further along than most people realize. What's triggering all this? Verstappen's clear frustration with Red Bull's current performance. The recent upgrades haven't delivered the results expected, and no one feels that disappointment more than Max himself. When a driver of his stature starts to lose patience, changes usually follow. After all, he didn't win 4 world championships by settling for mediocrity. Breaking up a successful partnership might sound dramatic, even far-fetched, but this is Formula One. Unexpected changes are part of the sport's nature. Think back to Lewis Hamilton's move to Ferrari. No one believed it until it actually happened. So if Verstappen is truly weighing his options, Mercedes might be offering exactly what he's looking for. And it's not just about the car. Sources suggest that Verstappen had a serious conversation with Red Bull about team leadership. And when a top-tier driver makes such requests, teams take notice. Red Bull's recent inconsistency could be giving him the final push he needs. Sky F1 Italia believes that Verstappen and Toto Wolff are already having in-depth discussions about what a partnership might look like. And let's not forget Wolff's past statements. They've hinted more than once that he sees Max as a natural fit for the team at some point. It's just a matter of timing. Mercedes, with its proven engine strength and strategic thinking, could be the fresh start Max is quietly preparing for, especially if Red Bull continues to struggle under internal pressure. Reports even claim that Max has responded positively to an offer from Wolff, but here's the twist: not everyone at Mercedes agrees with bringing him in just yet. Some members of the board are still hesitant, and the main reason, George Russell. He's been a loyal part of the Mercedes system for years, rising from his rookie days at Williams to now being a race winner and a solid team leader. Russell's current contract is reportedly worth around $35 million for the upcoming season. Talks are ongoing, and according to Wolff, we should get some sort of confirmation during the Silverstone weekend. But judging by recent developments, Russell might already be thinking about alternatives: Red Bull, maybe Aston Martin. Because when a team principal starts showing interests elsewhere, drivers start planning ahead. Wolff's recent comments haven't exactly shut down the speculation. In fact, they've only made things more interesting. He acknowledged that the current pair, Hamilton's replacement and Russell, work well together. But then he threw in the line that made everyone raise their eyebrows: there's a 4-time champion out there who needs to make a decision. That's a massive clue that plans could be shifting inside Mercedes, and Wolff is preparing for every possible outcome. Now comes the difficult part. If Mercedes decides to bring in Verstappen, someone has to move. Kimi Antonelli has already signed a deal for 2026 and is widely considered the next big thing in the sport. Dropping him could create massive backlash, especially if he turns out to be the star everyone expects. On the flip side, George Russell has already proven himself at the highest level. He's not just consistent, he's delivered results and has become a reliable figure in Mercedes' recent efforts to climb back to the top. Choosing between Russell and Verstappen isn't just about numbers or talent. It's about timing, risk, and long-term vision. And according to Karun Chanhak from Sky F1, the smarter bet, at least from Wolff's perspective, might be to part ways with Russell. Meanwhile, all eyes are turning toward Christian Horner. The situation at Red Bull is quickly becoming chaotic. Horner was trusted with steering the ship through tough waters after the internal shakeup, but that trust may now be slipping. Jos Verstappen, Max's father, warned that things would fall apart if certain issues weren't addressed. And looking at the current state of affairs, he might have been right all along. Several key personnel have left the team. First it was Newey, then Wheatley, and Connaughton followed soon after. Now Max is openly frustrated with the direction the team is heading. According to Automotor Undi Sport, he made a strong request to management: either shift responsibilities away from Horner or consider replacing him entirely. That's a massive demand from a driver. No matter how successful, it's a last-ditch attempt to stabilize a once dominant team before things spiral beyond repair. Max is under contract until 2028, but even long contracts don't hold much weight if the environment turns toxic. And let's be honest, grooming Horner, the man who's been with the team since the beginning, would send shockwaves across the paddock. So what's Max really thinking? While he hasn't said much publicly, he hasn't denied the idea of a move either. That silence says more than words ever could. He's clearly watching how things unfold at Mercedes, and he's keeping his options open. Nothing has been confirmed, but the possibility of change is more real than ever. Max Verstappen has always been someone who chooses his words carefully. He's not the type to throw statements around just to stir the pot. But when asked about a possible switch to Mercedes, his answer was as calculated as his driving. The more I talk about it, the more it will end up in the media. I don't want that. I'll decide my own future. That line alone was enough to set the rumor mill spinning even faster. And let's be real, if there was absolutely nothing going on behind the scenes, wouldn't it be easier for Max to simply deny the speculation? Instead, his vague responses only add fuel to the fire. It's the kind of quiet tension that usually leads to something big. Plus, if Toto Wolff had no plans to make a move, he could have shut everything down weeks ago. The fact that he hasn't says a lot. Even George Russell hasn't taken offense to the rumors. When asked about it, he said that every team principal wants the strongest lineup possible. That's just how Formula One works. He added that as long as he performs well, there's no reason for concern. But that calm exterior may be hiding deeper doubts. According to Martin Brundle, Russell has already started checking in with other teams. Just in case things don't go his way, Russell believes he'll still be on the grid in 2026. But whether he'll still be in a silver car, that's the real question. He's confident about staying in the sport but not entirely sure about staying at Mercedes. That kind of uncertainty usually doesn't come from nowhere. And if you're Russell, you can't ignore the feeling that something's shifting behind closed doors. So, what does all this mean? It means we're likely headed toward a major shakeup, whether it happens now or later. Verstappen's future with Red Bull looks increasingly unstable, and Wolff isn't hiding the fact that he's interested. The groundwork is being laid, conversations are happening, and once the first domino falls, the rest will likely follow fast. As the 2026 season approaches, all eyes are on two key elements: the new regulations and the driver market. Teams are working behind the scenes to prepare for what could be the most competitive era Formula One has seen in years. That's why major decisions, especially involving top-tier drivers, aren't just about next season. They're about laying the foundation for the next phase of dominance. Mercedes has always been strategic. If Verstappen is truly available and open to a fresh start, it would make perfect sense for Toto Wolff to go all in. After all, why wouldn't you try to sign the most successful driver of the current generation, especially when your team is gearing up for a technical overhaul? It's not just about performance, it's about legacy. Still, there's one huge complication. What if Russell suddenly becomes the one leading the championship in 2026? Imagine him consistently on the podium, collecting wins, and guiding the team with maturity and skill. At that point, how do you even begin to tell him he's being replaced? That's not just a tough decision, it's a PR nightmare. But that's exactly the type of scenario Wolff could be facing. And what about Red Bull? If they continue to spiral downwards, struggling with upgrades, losing key staff, and watching their star driver grow more frustrated, they might find themselves in an unfamiliar position, chasing instead of leading. That's something Max won't tolerate for long, especially not when his prime years are slipping away. This story isn't just about one team or one driver. It's a reflection of how quickly things can shift in Formula One. One moment you're at the top, the next you're trying to hold everything together. Verstappen's future remains uncertain. But one thing's clear, something's coming. Whether it's a dramatic switch, a big statement, or a shocking twist, the paddock is waiting. So what do you think is going to happen? Will Mercedes take the gamble and bring Max in? Will Russell step up and prove he's the long-term leader? Or will Red Bull somehow find a way to keep their star and steady the ship before it's too late? Whatever happens, the countdown has already started, and the next few months could shape the future of Formula One for years to come.